Hey adventurers, welcome back to the channel. If you're here, chances are you've already swung through the thrilling world of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and let me tell you, I get it. That game is an epic ride, packed with daring escapes, ancient secrets, and enough adrenaline to make even Dr. Jones sweat under that iconic fedora. But, like all great adventures, it eventually has to end. And if you're anything like me, you're probably thinking, what now? Where do I find my next dose of treasure hunting excitement? Well, fear not, because today we're diving into a treasure trove of games that deliver the same sense of mystery, action, and adventure. Some of these gems even feel like they were plucked straight out of an Indiana Jones movie themselves. From scaling ancient ruins to uncovering forbidden relics, these games are here to scratch that adventurous itch and keep your explorer's spirit alive. So grab your whip, or, your controller, and let's jump right into it. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. You know that moment when you're crawling through vents, fists clenched, ready to pounce on some unsuspecting guard? If that's your kind of adrenaline, The Chronicles of Riddick. Escape from Butcher Bay should be your next stop. This game isn't just another movie tie-in, it's a gritty first-person action adventure that serves up a killer mix of stealth, hand-to-hand combat, and just the right amount of sci-fi edge. You play as Riddick, the ultimate anti-hero, trying to escape a prison so fortified it makes Fort Knox look like a playground. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The gameplay vibes might feel familiar if you've played The Great Circle. Both games lean into that satisfying cocktail of stealth and brawling, making every encounter feel personal. But while The Great Circle immerses you in treasure hunts and ancient mysteries, Escape from Butcher Bay trades that for a high-stakes prison break. The setting alone, Butcher Bay, with its claustrophobic corridors and ruthless guards, is a masterpiece of tension. You're not just sneaking for survival, you're outsmarting a system designed to keep you locked away forever. And here's a fun tidbit for you. The DNA of these games is more connected than you'd think. Machine Games, the studio behind The Great Circle, was founded by ex-Starbreeze Studios devs, the same team that brought Escape from Butcher Bay to life. So, if you've ever wondered why these games share that seamless mix of combat and storytelling, there's your answer. It's gaming pedigree at its finest. Here's a gem you might have missed: Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine. Yeah, we're talking old-school adventure gold here. It's one of those games that feels like it was made for the indie superfan who loves a good puzzle, some well-timed platforming, and of course, punching bad guys. Set in 1947, this game ditches the Nazis for Soviet agents who are after a mysterious artifact. Because, of course, they are. What else screams world domination like assembling the four pieces of an ancient, reality-bending machine? The gameplay is classic action-adventure fare, but with enough twists to keep you on your toes. One minute, you're scaling cliffs like a whip-wielding Spider-Man. The next, you're deep in a temple, staring at a puzzle that makes you question your IQ. And don't even get me started on the shootouts. Let's just say Indy can hold his own, even when things get chaotic. The whole thing feels like you're playing through a lost chapter of the Indiana Jones saga. One where the stakes are high, but there's always time for a cheeky one-liner. What really sets Infernal Machine apart, though, is how well it nails that adventurous indie vibe. From the ancient ruins to the treacherous terrain, every level feels like it's pulled straight out of a Spielberg storyboard. If The Great Circle has you hyped for more indie-style adventures, this is the perfect throwback to dive into. It's a little rough around the edges, thanks late 90s graphics, but hey, what's an Indiana Jones game without a few scrapes and bruises? Picture this: you're in the thick of an alternate history where the Nazis have taken over the world. And the only thing standing between them and total domination is you, a one-man wrecking crew named B.J. Blazkowicz. That's Wolfenstein, the new order for you, and if you loved Indiana Jones and The Great Circle, you're in for a wild ride here. Sure, you're still fighting Nazis, but this time it's not just about stealing ancient artifacts, it's about blowing their entire regime sky high. The connection between the New Order and The Great Circle is crystal clear if you've spent even 5 minutes in either game. Both are cinematic, story-driven, and love to dabble in stealth mechanics that make you feel like a total badass when you nail them. In the New Order, though, things are dialed up to 11. It's grittier, bloodier, and way more intense. Where Indy's adventures lean on wit and whip cracks, BJ is all about grit and heavy firepower. It's a stark contrast, but one that works if you're craving a darker, more visceral experience. And let's not forget that the New Order doesn't just give you Nazis to punch, it lets you do it with style. Dual-wielding shotguns? Check. Silent takedowns that make you feel like a ghost? Double check. The game's alternate history setting, combined with its relentless combat and cinematic flair, makes it a standout pick for anyone who loves action-adventure stories with a side of Nazi-smashing satisfaction. So if Indy's charm left you wanting more, but with a harder edge, this is your game. Deadfall Adventures, the game that feels like finding an old map in your attic. You're excited at first, but then realize it's coffee-stained and missing half the treasure coordinates. Still, if you love the thrill of running through ancient ruins, solving tricky puzzles, and punching Nazis, seriously, why are they always hanging around artifacts? It's got that undeniable Indiana Jones vibe. Think of it as the Great Circle's scrappy cousin who might borrow your car without asking, but will also take you on a wild ride. Now, let's not sugarcoat it. Deadfall Adventures is no flawless masterpiece. It's like a puzzle where a few pieces don't quite fit. Some clunky mechanics here, a few rough edges there. But beneath all that is a game with heart. The treasure hunter story, complete with exotic locations and mystical secrets, is entertaining enough to keep you digging. And hey, who doesn't want to wield a flashlight like it's Excalibur to ward off supernatural foes? That's the kind of over-the-top charm that keeps you coming back. Compared to the Great Circle, it's definitely more of a B-side, but sometimes that's exactly what you need. If you're craving a game that scratches that itch for pulp adventure and adrenaline-fueled treasure hunts, Deadfall Adventures might just surprise you. Sure, it's not going to revolutionize the genre, but it delivers exactly what it promises. Nazis to fight, puzzles to solve, and treasures to uncover. And isn't that what adventure gaming is all about? Alright, imagine this. You're donning your iconic brown hat, gripping your trusty whip, and stepping into the unknown, ready for adventure. Sound familiar? Well, if Indiana Jones vibes are your thing, Spelunky is the perfect game to scratch that itch. It's like stepping into a treasure hunter's fever dream, but instead of smooth-talking Nazis and ancient relics, you're dodging exploding frogs, giant spiders, and traps that are just way too personal about your lack of reflexes. Seriously, 1 second you're grabbing gold, the next, you're pancaked by a boulder. Classic adventurer problems, right? What really makes Spelunky special, though, is the unpredictability. Every time you dive into its 2D caves, the levels are completely randomized. No two runs are the same, meaning you're always 2 seconds away from triumph or disaster. And let's be real, most of us are usually leaning toward disaster. But that's the charm. It's a game that rewards creativity and risk-taking, just like a certain whip-cracking archaeologist we all know and love. So, if you're up for digging your way through danger, this is your call to adventure. Just watch out for the shopkeepers. Those guys hold a grudge like nobody's business. Alright, let's talk about a game that's basically what would happen if Indiana Jones had a wild, chaotic group of friends and an itchy trigger finger, Strange Brigade. This one takes you on an adventure that feels like it could have been ripped straight out of a pulpy 1930s treasure hunting serial. Except instead of dusting off artifacts and deciphering ancient riddles, you're blasting mythical creatures into oblivion. Sounds like a good time, right? Set in the 1930s, much like the Great Circle in Indy's adventures, Strange Brigade throws you into environments that just scream hidden treasure and booby traps. You and your fellow adventurers get to explore lush jungles, mysterious temples, and ancient ruins, all the places you'd expect to find danger lurking around every corner. And believe me, the game doesn't hold back. It's all about over-the-top action and lighthearted fun, with a tone that never takes itself too seriously. But here's the twist. Instead of dodging rolling boulders or having intense standoffs with rival archaeologists, you're squaring off against hordes of undead mummies, giant scorpions, and all kinds of mythical baddies. It's like someone took the classic treasure hunting formula, tossed in a heavy dose of Left 4 Dead, and sprinkled some cheesy charm on top. If you're looking for a game that feels like it could share a cinematic universe with the Great Circle, but with way more explosions and mayhem, Strange Brigade is calling your name. Oh, you think Indiana Jones has all the fun, huh? Guess again, because Lara Croft is here to remind you she's the reigning queen of treasure hunting. Rise of the Tomb Raider is like the ultimate what if Indy had a GPS and way cooler gadgets scenario. This time, Lara swaps out temples and snakes for the icy wilderness of Siberia, chasing down the lost city of Kitej. Yep, it's got ancient legends, hidden treasures, and of course, danger around every corner. But unlike your average tourist, Lara's not just dodging snowstorms, she's also up against Trinity, a shadowy paramilitary group that's bad news all around. Now, let me tell you, Trinity isn't exactly mustache-twirling villains, but they're the type who show up uninvited and ruin everyone's day. Whether you're sneaking through their camps like a ghost or going full-on action movie and shootouts, the stakes are high. And don't even get me started on the traps and puzzles. One second you're pulling off a climbing move worthy of an Olympic gold medal, and the next you're staring at a centuries-old mechanism, wondering if pulling a lever is going to open a door or drop you into a pit of spikes. No pressure, right? But the best part? It's not all run and gun. The game gives you space to explore, soak in the gorgeous and deadly landscapes, and piece together ancient mysteries. It's a perfect blend of action, adventure, and brain teasers. So, if you've ever dreamed of stepping into Indy's boots, but wanted a more modern, adrenaline-fueled twist, Rise of the Tomb Raider is calling your name. Just, pack a parka. Siberia isn't exactly beach weather. You know that feeling when you're halfway through The Great Circle or rewatching Indiana Jones and you just know you need more treasure hunting chaos in your life? Well, buckle up. Because Uncharted 2, Among Thieves is basically like diving into a blockbuster adventure, controller in hand. This game doesn't just give you action, it makes you live it. Picture this: Nathan Drake, everyone's favorite witty explorer chasing after the legendary Sintamani Stone. Sounds simple, right? Nope! Because what's an adventure without a few ancient puzzles, exotic locales, and a whole heap of bad guys with questionable morals? Oh, and did I mention most of this game unfolds in the breathtaking landscapes of Asia? From jungle ruins to snow-covered mountains, it's a globe-trotting adventure that feels like a movie you're actually playing. But what really sets Uncharted 2 apart are the jaw-dropping set pieces. One second, you're sneaking through an ancient temple, and the next, you're dangling off a derailed train in the Himalayas. And let's be honest, Nathan's snarky one-liners and his chemistry with allies like Chloe and Elena? Chef's kiss. If you're craving a game that blends puzzles, high-octane action, and that perfect dose of treasure-hunting banter, this one's calling your name. Trust me, you'll be hooked faster than Nathan can say, "I've got a bad feeling about this." The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.